7-yard line. That's a great call. Who's playing favorite? Plummer will put it up, throws over the middle. Poole, touchdown. Quick flag.
3rd down and 5. Levis swings it to Scatterboom. Scatterboom breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Another. Scatterboom is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure. On this team this year. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon Compton. Welcome to 2025. This one the other way. Still going back. That's the drag. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries a. Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her 3 right on the money.
Takes a shot for Darby. Flag out. Doesn't matter. Touchdown.
What is up, my Pitchfork Lunch peeps? Happy Friday, whatever you want to call it. I am so stoked to be with you again. We are, as we are getting set to go. And yes, it is Friday. And that is an awesome, awesome thing, my Pitchfork Lunch peeps, as you know. Because I said there's working on midst of interviews. Guess what? We're going to change backgrounds in a few minutes, and I will be sitting down with, normally, just sitting here talking on the, sending the link as we're talking, but I'll be sitting down with the man behind the defense of ASU, the defensive coordinator, Brian Ward, so don't go too far. Don't go too far, so you can obviously check that out. So yes, I'll be in his office, and there probably will be no background. So yes, it is going to switch, but again, work these things out. But yes, you don't want to be bashful and not check that out. So yes, Brian Ward will be joining us shortly. Again, got to get to this. Also, it is Friday, and again, yes, I digress. I am Michael Caratino at Diablos005 on 005 underscore on X. The artist formerly known as the Twitter. You can catch live there every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. Also, don't forget, you can go to the wonderful world of IG, Pitchfork Lunchers. I know, have I ever told you that? That's so crazy. That is so crazy. All you got to do is go to michael.caratinudo.5, and you are hitting the wonderful world of IG to check it out there. So, yes, do not be bashful. Hit me up in the comments, all that good stuff. Yes, you can do that too on IG. And last but not least, guys, as we wind down season 3, but the YouTube channel, go to YouTube and watch live. Yes. But also don't forget, you can subscribe, and you need to, because you have missed a plethora of phenomenal con reviews as we have here on Pitchfork Lunch. Again, many friends of the show, guests we've had on before. Yes, it's conversation. It's an interview, but it's a good conversation going back and forth. So, and innovative here at ASU. But yes, go to YouTube. You see my name, Michael Carrasnillo. You can search that. But my page is at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe away, which you can do, because like I said, and I want to say you missed a plethora of phenomenalness in general, phenomenal con reviews, but you have all you have to do is go to YouTube and subscribe and check it out, because you have to binge watch, a lot, because Monday is going to be the last show of the season. Got to go to Monday because, again, got this interview with Coach Ward and looking to get 2 more interviews. So, again, Monday, no matter what, is the last show of season 3. So, yes, go to YouTube, see my name, Michael Carrasnillo. You can search that, and it's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005 at MVC005 on YouTube. And when you search my name, you should see that. Look at that right there. See, look at that. Bam. You should see that Pitchfork Lunch symbol. Subscribe. Again, forks up to the newer subscribers, to all the subscribers, but the newer subscribers, thank you. Because like I said, you have to binge watch season 1, keep watching this last little bit of season 3, binge watch season 2 if you're in the midst of that, and again, watch season 3. And then after Monday, you'll be able to sit there and watch the rest of season 1, the rest of season 2. You can binge watch, a few a day. You're heading on a trip, you're heading on a plane, all that good stuff. So again, at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005 at MVC005 on YouTube, and subscribe away. So yes, a lot going on, as we know, in the football world. Obviously, the 28s were offered. The 28s were offered, and just again, a good vibe, everything going on. 28s are eligible to be contacted and offered, and so yes, they're going into their sophomore year. And I mentioned yesterday that the Devils in general have offered quite a few, sent out the awesome golden tickets, as you guys all know, my friends. Yes, I do know you know that. I do know you know that. So, I know you know that. And then yesterday, though, I mentioned that that a young man whose father had played here at ASU, and he was committed to San Diego State. But he decommitted, did Nasim Eason, who decommitted from San Diego State, and ASU is in the mix. Defense, again, which I'm definitely going to ask Coach about that. I mean, talk to Coach Tuitele about Keith and Keyshawn getting drafted. But, but Nasim Eason, again, whose dad went here, ASU is a major interest. Well, they're interested in him, but he has, I guess, equal amount of interest after being out at, 7-on-7 passing camp, and they got to see him. It's again, very exciting around here. So Coach Ward and I will catch up on that. Again, not talking about any individual. So if you send me questions while I'm talking to him about any individuals, realize it will not get asked. I can ask it, but guess what? He would not be able to answer it anyway. So that in and of itself, my friends, makes it a tougher get. But that, and then we'll have some news and notes. Again, College World Series getting started. Obviously, I know the Devils aren't there, but, busy in the portal are the Sun Devils. And any other news and notes for the weekend I can think of, we will hit that as well. Obviously, softball, like I said, very busy in the portal. So very stoked for them for that. But so that being said, I'm going to take a quick break, right? Take a quick break. But when we get back, you might notice a little bit of a different background because, again, guys set it up that way because we want to be able to see Coach Ward. But we're going to sit down with Sun Devil defensive coordinator Brian Ward and get his thoughts. Obviously, you didn't get to talk to him. I mean, spring ball, everything, draft, recruiting, just, fun stuff, all the good stuff, all the con review stuff that we have here on Pitchfork Lunch. So don't go too far. We'll step aside. And Coach Ward coming up on the other side. I know I'm not getting recruited. Don't get time. And like I said, we'll get to it because we're look at this, Pitchfork Lunchers. We are back here, and man, I know I'm not getting recruited. Don't get excited. The eligibility's all gone. Plus, I'm too slow for this guy. But Coach Defensive Coordinator Brian Ward joining us here. He's been a friend of the program here on Pitchfork Lunch, and we greatly appreciate that, Coach. Thanks for taking the time. And like I said, we'll get to it because we're coming to the end of season 3, and as you guys have known from the show, transfer portal open in other sports, recruiting. They just started with 28s, camps, everything. And this man, again, I always say they could all, not that your clowns could be in the circus, because they could juggle not just 3, they could probably juggle 25 balls at once, like you guys have to do, and still stay focused and driven. But Coach, thanks for taking the time. And again, as my Pitchfork Lunchers have been trained, we're not talking about any certain recruits, but just, man, how's this recruiting season going?
Well, I think it's going really well. We've been on these guys for probably the last 2 years total, and most of the guys that we've been recruiting are guys that we know a lot about, and we've been able to go out and see live and see work out and perform. So things are coming together, and we like to slow cook our recruiting as opposed to make it really quick and more of a we're not speed dating here. This is more of
Yep.
a, hey, we're trying to put it in an oven. We're trying to let it marinate, and we're trying to make sure that, we get the guys that are a right fit for our culture and guys that want to be here at ASU.
Okay, that's a great. See, look at that. Not only is he a great defensive coordinator, you got a future in broadcasting too. So that's a perfect segue. That's my next question, because I was gonna say you always see him recruiting, and maybe not in football, but in basketball. Sometimes like a 7th or 8th grade kid was offered by a college, and I mean, I know it. Yes, it gets clicks, and people are like, "Are you kidding me?" Because we sit there and talk about it. But in football, like you said, getting to know these players. I mean, you start looking at them. 8th grade, freshman year, I'm guessing, just to see what they do. And you're saying slow cook it. But what's the challenge in that when you're starting to look at kids, like, again, 8th grade going into freshman year and just watching freshmen play freshman ball, getting that, yeah, everybody's still growing, but the speed, the talent, everybody's kind of at a different spot. I guess, not to give away your secret, but just what's the challenge in that? And what's the secret in that?
Well, when guys are that young, getting early offered, that young and that far off from their college careers, those are usually the guys that everybody can see and everybody can evaluate. It's the guys that develop later, and the guys that we can see 2-3 years into their college careers, and seeing if they have the right mindset, the right habits, what they're going to develop into, and that's ultimately what's going to determine how successful that we're going to be, and how successful our recruiting classes are going to be. And I know there's a lot of flash that comes with recruiting rankings and recruiting. Where people see guys in terms of when they get signed, but where we like to say, well, we feel like we're different, is we're trying to find, again, guys that want to be here at ASU, that are going to fit with our culture, and that their habits are the best determining factor of how well they're going to develop and what they're going to become. So it's hard to evaluate guys that maybe, are 14, 15 years old, that don't, that haven't shaved, that don't have a hair on their face or a hair on their chest yet. And, but 90% of the classes that we sign, 95% are guys that develop as juniors and seniors. Right. And those are the guys that we think have the highest ceilings, not to take away the guys that are the no-brainers either, because
right.
Those are guys that are going to get recruited by everybody in the country.
Right.
So, and usually everybody can see those guys. It's the guys that kind of fall between the margins, that people maybe evaluate for being a certain fit in their program. And that's where we've had our success.
And, we've talked about that before, obviously. I said, because you guys know here, don't always bring up the same things, but Coach Ward and I have that great bond covering coaching at the junior college, playing at it, coaching, but the diamonds in the rough, you're saying, maybe not so much that, but like the late bloomers. Yeah. And to kind of piggyback off that, because I know obviously coming out of the pandemic with the extension of, scholarships, and that year didn't count. And a lot of people, and then the transfer portal has people saying, oh man, that's going to be tough on obviously freshmen. Like you said, you can see talent, but if you can also hit the portal and bring somebody in that's got that experience, how do you feel now that that wave is pretty much gone, and those scholarships, scholarship athletes from the pandemic are gone? How do you feel that now the recruiting of, these high school kids, not that the portal's not important, but it do you think it's kind of gotten back to where it was before the pandemic and the transfer portal?
Well, I think it's always evolving, and I don't know if I have a clear answer to that, because I think as you move regionally around the country, and as you move up and down the different levels of college football, I think that, everybody'd have a different answer to that. Like, sure. I think for most programs, it's come back to a semblance of a little bit more consistency. Back when the COVID came, guys got COVID years, they got extra years of eligibility. They got, guys that were 5th years got a 6th year, and, and that affected, I think, the high school classes in 20 and 21 and 22 more than any other classes, and maybe a little bit into 23. But I think it's basically on a program by program basis. I mean, we're always looking for good players, and it's always going to be like almost by position. Hey, where are our needs?
Right.
Where do we find the guys that we feel like can come in and help us right away in terms of the portal? And then where are guys that we can evaluate and see that these guys are going to be a good fit for our program a year or 2 and 3 years down the road. So it's ever evolving, and it's really at a week by week, month by month basis right now. So, I think, there was some madness that came from COVID in all areas of our lives. But if you get into the college football space, then you feel like, okay, it maybe feels a little bit more normal. But at the same time, I mean, it is ever evolving, and each program's, and we're no different. We're going to evolve it. We're going to evaluate that on a case-by-case basis.
Well, and speaking of development, obviously NFL draft, I haven't really got to talk to you, and I said to Coach Saga that everybody, they were all first rounders in my eyes, Homer show or not. I know I got a little bit of flack for that one, but man, okay. So Keith goes in the 5th round to Detroit. And I remember just kidding around with Keith, saying, oh, I'd love for you to end up, in Dallas. And everybody was saying their favorite teams. Is like, yeah, my mom might like that too, being closer to home. But the 5th round, he goes to Detroit. And I mean, such just an awesome fit for him and the way he developed. And then a few picks later, his former teammate and guys making plays together, Keyshawn goes to the Bears. But just like Keith going there and what you've seen, I mean, like I said, the 5th round, obviously it's an honor to get drafted. I get, there's so many picks per round. But I think there's a few DBs that went before and teams are going to be like, yeah, we made a mistake. But just what was it like for you to see Keith and Keyshawn just go back to back like that?
Yeah, it was great seeing those guys get drafted. And both those guys deserve everything that they get, and they're going to be successful in whatever they do, just because of how they approach things, their habits every single day. And I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Like, I haven't been around great players that weren't great people, and I just haven't. Every great player that I've ever coached they're a great person, and usually whatever they put their mind to, they were going to be successful in. And, I've been around some very talented players who, maybe their habits didn't match their talent, and those guys don't ever go very far. And it's a life lesson. So those guys are going to be successful in whatever they do. Both those guys are basically uncuttable players because of their habits. And, the NFL is not what people, I don't think completely what people think it is. The NFL they're looking for 90% of every roster is who's going to come fit in and be a part of the unit. It's not necessarily who's the best performers,
right? Okay,
which is very important. Those guys have the ability. It's who are the people that are going to add value to the organization. And it's no different than in the business world or anything else. It's what do you value more, performance or culture? And those guys are culture builders, and most successful organizations value culture. And that's why we've been able to have success on defense the last 2 years, playing with those guys like that. And those guys, nobody's been more impactful on defense or a program than those two guys.
Yeah, and I messaged Coach Cooper. I said, wow, I know that like the tradition of the Bears, but could there be any more of a fitting spot for Keyshawn? And then Coach Tuitele said, the biggest compliment, a coach can give a player of another position is that, because he goes, if Keith would have been, 115 pounds heavier, he'd come play center for him. Yeah. That's what Coach Tuitele said. He goes, he plays center for me. And I just again, and everything they put into it. And then, and obviously defensive side of it, you saw what he did. And he's getting a shot, obviously, with Pittsburgh. I mean, it's great to see Max go in the 1st round along with Jordan, but Shimon Mateer, I mean, I think back, and I know it's more than one game that gets you recruited, but his time here, the way, I mean, yes, he can catch the ball, red zone, great, but the blocking and the Mississippi State game last year, it was one of those things where the analysts just could not, in the second half, end of the first half, second half, every running play, it was not, but look at what Shimon, and he goes undrafted. And I said to Coach, I just said to you, I get it, but that makes no sense to me. And of course, the Steelers get to your point, they're like just another worker, another diamond right there.
Yeah, and that's just part of it. Like, I think sometimes we can be caught in the bubble. It's no different than than a parent watching their son play, and we go, man, what a great player, what a great, but there's so many, like you said, there's so many other players out there, and it's such a fine line, right? What people see as opposed to what people know. And, it really is. It's a fine line, but it's a very clear line. Like, some people are going to see something, not see what the person that works with that person every day sees. So, the NFL, it's a really selective league, and, those guys' jobs are on the line, just like our jobs are on the line. So, but like I said before, like, habits are always going to be the best determiner or predetermining factor for future success. And Shimon, he keeps working. He's going to find, his way to a home in the NFL or in professional football somewhere.
Yeah, no, like you said, people said that to me. They're like, you sound like you're the parent of, 500 kids when you're talking about any sport that get drafted. I said, I go, look, everybody sees it, but when you hear others keep saying like, "Oh, look at this," so you guys do a good job. So, okay, spring ball. I mean, obviously, a lot of new guys. Guys come in, guys that we've talked about before, graduate high school early and just kind of get the, their paws into college and stuff like that. But from a defensive standpoint, there were some guys that kind of said, even a guy that came in early. I mean, I was talking to Coach Reynolds and Julian Hugo. I mean, this young man. But all throughout, all levels, what did you just think of spring ball, and how's the defense shaping up?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have, it's a unit that has a lot of college football snaps in it, but just not college snaps of those guys playing together or in this, in this terminology or this defensive system. So, there's some guys that have high football IQ and have the ability to tie one thing together at a high level. There's other guys that have a lot of ability, but maybe their fundamentals need to be cleaned up in order for them to be successful in what we do on defense. And, our job as coaches is to give these guys as much information and be as consistent in our process and teaching them so they can continue to move forward and feel like they're getting better every single day.
And then speaking of growing and stuff like that, and I talked about it during the spring, and talked about it on the show, how, normally like you were working with the safeties, but now you're just getting to kind of roam in individual groups. And like you said, I mean, coach is always, evolving and doing this. How much has that helped you evolve? But just in going around, checking out the D-line a little bit in practice, going over, with Coach Coop and the linebackers, and obviously, yes, still with the, the safeties and the corners, but how is that just kind of, how do you feel it's helped you grow as a coach, and maybe even more so help these guys grow in your system?
Well, I'm still evolving in that. So I'm still getting comfortable in that role. I mean, I still try to give input at every position. I try to help those position coaches coach what we're doing on defense. I feel like, this group of coaches is as, if not more so, aligned than at any time we've been here in terms of what's important to how, what makes us successful on defense. So, I'm just using this role just to kind of dive in to learn the process more. And as we get into fall camp, the spring was really a learning process for me. I know that I'm going to be able to impact those positions maybe from a bird's eye view rather than more specifics in terms of, how are we using our individual periods? Are we, is it, are we focusing on our install, or are we coaching what we want to coach? And I think those are the type of things that I'm going to be able to have more of a handle on so we can actually grow and develop faster defensively.
And then when you talk about, when you look at that, the one thing that coaches always talk about, the continuity, and obviously having you coaches come back. I mean, defensively, everybody, still being together, being on the same page. And yeah, I mean, you're going to add coaches. Obviously Coach Carrington gets promoted and the job he's done, but just that continuity, going into, especially to this round of recruiting, like you said, with install recruiting, everything, how much do you feel that's just kind of catapulted this program more so to be even more so on the map?
Ask it in a different way. I'm not quite understanding
the continuity of the coaching staff. You guys always coming back, and just in recruiting. I mean, obviously coaches want to get to a higher level. I mean, everybody, be a head coach. But for you guys that have been together this time, and maybe one or two coaches come in, but the continuity, how has it helped in recruiting? How has it just helped in installs? You said coaching, because a lot of times it's you can just get right to a point because you guys are almost thinking on that same level.
So, okay, so that's a great question, especially in terms of, how you look at our staff and you look at just, we live in a coaching profession that's full of very ambitious, people. But it's funny, as you get older and more experienced, you start realizing what's going to make you happy, and that, A, the grass isn't always greener. B, when you find a good place and one that you can build, and one where you have the support, not only from the community, the administration, but also you have a comfort level as a position coach or an assistant coach or coordinator that you're working for a head guy that is helping you grow. You know what I'm saying? So it's like John Maxwell's leadership pyramid. I read that book probably 27 years ago. It was early 2000s, and it was his first major one that came out. He talked about the leadership pyramid and how no one is ever going to be happy if they feel like they're working under someone where their leadership surpasses that person. So people cannot be comfortable if they're working for a level 5 leader, number one, level 10 being the highest level leader, and they feel like they're a level 6 or 7, they're never ever going to feel satisfied or comfortable or challenged. And I think, that is so true on so many levels here at Arizona State. We feel we're at a place that is giving the support. It's only growing. The support that we have now compared to year one is immeasurable. We're working for a head coach that empowers us, but he also leads us, and he also gives direction. And he's a part of the process. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing, is we always talk about, like, it's a collaborative deal, and on defense it is. I mean, there's no input that our head coach gives that isn't productive, that doesn't help me grow as a coordinator. So, and I think probably every coach in this building would probably say that, so, and that's ultimately I guess you get to my age, you want to listen more than I would rather listen more than people hear me speak, you know what I'm saying? Because, this is a bottom line business, you know what I'm saying? And for especially for the people that determine, our success and what's successful here at Arizona State. So I'm just trying to, again, find a way to be the best I can, I can be, along with our defensive side of the football, so we can be the best we can be. And, I think having that continuity, and that's one of the things, like Coach Dillingham made a comment about how many older guys on the staff he has. Well, I think part of that is the maturity to recognize some of those positive things. And I think when you're younger, it's always about position, it's about title, it's about moving. It's about how quickly can I ascend. When you get to, coach, my age, Coach Coop is in, Coach Cooch, he's a little bit younger than me, you know what I mean? But he's the guy that we challenge each other every single day. And we grow as coaches. Coach Reynolds, the same way, you know what I'm saying? And Coach Reynolds and I are around the same age, and you got Coach Meat, we're around the same age. Like, you just ultimately know, like, hey, listen, you know what I mean? We're growing here, and we continue to move forward. And we want to compete at the highest level here. And we feel like we can.
And to piggyback off that too, like, in recruiting, people always see that. People under, like, it's not just like you said, a fake head, like a coach, whether they're trying to move up or not, but as a staff, they get around everybody, and you use the word family. And to further piggyback off that, I mean, obviously Fridays always have Tillman stuff, love going out Tillman run, but obviously I know we've talked about the statue, but the last few years, having the team be out at the kids run and just be out at Pat's run, seeing people come in, what it means to him. I mean, I talked to a guy this year that had, I think it was knee and hip knee replacement, double knee replacement. And he was just about 9 weeks out of it. And he came here to do the run.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to him, unbelievable, but like the Pat Tillman Leadership Council, when you talk about being the best you can be, to have something like that, just as a, I don't even want to say a thumbprint, as Pat Tillman, a handprint on the program. What's this like for you as coaches when you see the players giving back to the young kids, even obviously at the kids camp, but just Pat Tillman, the foundation, everything he means to this university and what the foundation means, but just to be a part of that, what's it just like for you? I mean, you're a parent, but when you see the players doing it and like the young kids, just how excited they are.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I've gone through as a parent, seeing my own son go through it. And my daughters were young enough not to really know that they weren't going to end up playing football, but they were a part of it early on. But having Pat Tillman's name attached to it is, I guess maybe a little bit more familiar to me, just because I have friends and close friends that I played junior college ball here with, high school ball or against high school ball here in Arizona. And I got a chance to meet Pat as he was a player once through one of my through one of the players that used to play here. And there's a lot of guys that I associate and rub shoulders with still to this day that either played with Pat or knew that, or knew him, personally on a deeper level. And, getting to meet his family as well, and getting to know his brother, Kevin, just because he comes around and he's a great dude. And, it just makes it a little bit more personal, and attaching his name to it just gives it a little bit deeper meaning, to everything that we're doing here. And, seeing those kids and seeing the impact that football has on young people. And then that, to me, has always been the beauty of the sport, is the locker room and the ability to bring people from every different background, really in American society and in American culture all together, working together to do one thing. It's always been, no matter where I've been in the United States, no matter going, playing my first year of football in 7th grade in South Minneapolis, to moving out here in 8th grade and playing here and coaching all over the country. It's just, it really is a unifying sport, and it's a sport for all ages to be able to follow and not to participate in, but it's not a sport for all ages,
Right.
But it's one that it's just such a great unifying force that I think football is.
Yeah, because I know when they put the statue up, it's to keep his memory going, and people say, yeah, people will remember, but it is great because I forgot who said it at the press conference, like, a little kid's going to see it and look up to his parent and say, hey, who is this? And that's the whole point of it, the conversation, like what it means, like you said, to play football, what it can teach you, but just the deepness to serve. So what is the family? I know you said you got a little bit of break. We're going to get him out of here on this because Coach Ward's very generous, but so a little bit of break time, a little catch your breath after this. Any things with the family? Daughter's not going back to Italy without you, is she?
No, she's not. Yeah, she's not doing that.
That was such a great trip, though. I talked to her. It's awesome.
Yeah, she did that with the Newman Center here, ASU's campus, and it was a trip of a lifetime for her. And, it was basically a pilgrimage because we're Catholic, and going back to kind of, I guess, our home base, which is Rome, Vatican. So, I'd love to get there one day too, but, that's not in the plans right now. But that'll be a trip of a lifetime for me and my wife whenever we're able to do that. But yeah, just relaxing, spending time, with Amy and with my wife, and I'm fortunate, I'm blessed here, just because of the situation with my daughter, working with the training staff. I see her most days, and she lives here in Tempe, and then my son who's on staff here. So, I'm a little spoiled when it comes to that. I'm a lot spoiled, and I appreciate every day being able to do that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate you know that because again, we go back to junior college, and he was a Bear, but like Coach Kersey and Coach Crew said, he's a Gaucho. No, he goes down as a Gaucho.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's awesome. Right. So we're gonna step aside. I give you guys a second to digest that here on Tillman Fridays on Pitchfork Lunch, but we'll step aside and have more coming up.
right, had to get reset. But yes, man, that was so awesome. Forks up to Coach Ward. Again, taking the time in the midst of, he says, recruiting, about to get out on a little bit of a breather, like we said, a little bit of vacay, a little bit of a breather for Coach Ward, and I mean the staff just in general. But yeah, I got visits through the weekend, so very, 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 very awesome of Coach Ward to do that here for us in Pitchfork Lunch Nation. So again, forks up to Coach Ward, and yeah, a lot of interesting things there. And like you said, I mean, it's, you know, like you said, he's getting at the continuity of the coaching staff, what they have been able to do, and yes, winning, you know, breeds success. You're going to be recruiting, and you're going to attract more people. You know, you're going to go into certain high schools, you know, in the country, and people are going to be very more, they're going to be more receptive. I mean, and you guys get that. I know you're very hip to it. They're going to be more receptive. And why wouldn't they be, due to the fact that, you know, you see winning, and, you know, players and these coaches are getting out there, and the relationships they build. Like Coach Ward said, I mean, you know, obviously coaching around the country, and, you know, Coach Dillingham, I mean, being an alum, but like where he started, obviously, is, you know, a grad assistant here, and then he goes with, you know, Mike Norvell. You know, he's in Memphis, and then he's at Florida State and Auburn for a year, and, you know, cross paths with Coach Lanning, and then is up at Oregon, you know, as Coach Lanning's OC, then lands the job here amidst everything, coming back to, like you said, this is home. But with Coach Ward, you know, he gets Coach Ward as a defensive coordinator. He brings Coach Cooper with him, you know, like, so we hanging with Coach Coop. Love doing that, obviously, and working on stuff for, like I said, season 4 in Camp T, but just the continuity, even when a new coach, you know, does come in, and the fact, like I said, that was huge there, because I asked him, and we talked about it in spring ball, guys, how he was able to, again, just bounce around from positions when they go individual. And yeah, always working with the safeties. And again, not that he's not, you know, when they're in team, obviously he's calling the defense, he's there, he's seeing it, but, you know, just evolving as a coach. And, you know, like you said, working with Coach Dillingham, a leader. And it's almost like, you know, Coach Molly Miller said, I don't have assistant coaches. I have 4 other head coaches. And because her staff she built absolutely amazing, but like, it is that thing. I don't have assistant coaches, I have head coaches. And Coach Ward talking about that there. If you missed it, again, all you gotta do is subscribe to the YouTube channel. You see my name, Michael Carrotino, you can search it. And when you search it, that wonderful, this right there will come up, Pitchfork Lunch, Forks Up. But my channel's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005, at MVC005 on YouTube. Subscribe away. Feel free. Absolute awesomeness. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, but the Coach Ward talking about that, and then, like you said, I mean, his daughter, part of the, you know, training staff, his son on the coaching staff, and then you get just, again, working with these coaches, and it shows the energy they have in recruiting. It's, man, I mean, it shows. And that's what I said to him. It absolutely shows, because you can't not see what that continuity brings. And, you know, obviously, you know, position coach, but, you know, and Coach Dillingham, and like you said, the input he gets, you know, from Coach Dillingham. And those are just great analogy of how he broke it down too, because if you're working for a coach and, you know, you feel that, you know, the leadership wise, the book, man, when he mentioned that book, I was just like, dang, but yes, I remember the Pyramids of Leadership book. And I'm telling you, like he says, you know, if you feel, you know, you're working for somebody that's at a 5 and you're at a 6 or a 7, like, it's just, but it's not it. And that is the tight-knit group, you know, when coaches come in, that they have. And he made a great point there, guys. I mean, you heard it, my Pitchfork Lunch peeps. You will always, I mean, you're young, you're ambitious, but as you get older, again, are you happy? Are you working with the guys? Like, is that person leading you? Are you guys all leading in that way? And yeah, man, again, forks up to Coach Dillingham, the way, he has built it. Again, they came in, amidst the, cloud of the, allegations, everything, the punishment that's gone. First year, again, 3-9, second year, first year in the Big 12 champs. And then last year battling for a Big 12 championship, go to the, obviously go to another bowl game, 19 wins in 2 seasons. I mean, absolutely awesome, almost 20. But and yeah, they're out working hard now. The guys, I mean, again, they're crushing it right now. So it's in and of itself, like, again, but when Coach Ward does with the defense, and again, I love offense, but defense is my favorite side of the ball. So that being said, my peeps, it's one of those things where you can't, like, in working together, but like, yeah, you have to be able to do it. And like you said, him and Coach Cooper have been together for a while, but they're still you're pushing each other to get better. And again, him being able to bounce around, I circle back to that, in practice is, again, it's just elevating his coaching. It's bringing everything up. So in and of itself, very, 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 very stoked. So forks up, Coach Ward, man. Again, thank Coach Ward. He had to get running, but he took some time with us right there. And again, went into his office, switch around locations, all that good stuff, guys. So I just, don't be bashful. Don't be bashful. But yeah, so that's, again, a lot of great things there. You can watch it on YouTube. Again, just go to my channel. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Champ 005 at MVC005 on YouTube. And again, forks up to the subscribers, the newer subscribers, forks up to you as well. But yeah, it'll be up there. And then Monday will be our final show of the season, my friends. I want you to have a good weekend. And then I want you to start your week next week with, just the ultimate awesomeness. So yeah, Monday will be the Monday will be the final show of season 3. Yes. So again, so still Coach Ward was able to join us right there. So yes, and Monday again, working on, again, we'll see about some wonderful guests. Hey, by the way, before we get out of here, I just saw this came across. The Arizona Board of Regents put out Arizona's public universities don't just compete, they win. In 2025-2026 year, ASU, NAU, and U of A combined for 18 conference championships, representing Arizona at the highest level in the Big 12, Big Sky, and MPSF sports. So yeah, so that is absolutely awesome to see. But yeah, news and notes, get that in there. So yeah, 18 championships.
And obviously softball recently just did that. Very, 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 very money. We know swimming also did that, men's and women's swimming, back to back there on the Big 12 championship. Volleyball, women's volleyball, yeah, rocking it. So yes, and like I said, softball. Coach Bartlett, forks up, man, way to crush it there. But yeah, very, very stoked for, again, obviously Pitchfork Lunchers, you know it. We rock it. So, but yeah, Monday will be the last show. There will be a guest. As of who and what schedules work, there might be more than one guest, but there will definitely be a guest. But yes, there will definitely be a guest. So yeah, but forks up to Coach Ward. Oh, College World Series update very, 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 very quickly before we go. As UNC Oklahoma, oh, they don't start till tomorrow. Yeah, so they don't start till tomorrow. So yes, it is tomorrow, and I didn't want to give that update, but yeah, I thought it was tonight, but it's tomorrow. And let's see. Oh, well, score-wise, as we all know, World Cup going on. USA is up 2-0 at halftime, my friends, over Australia up in Seattle. So looking good, looking good. Message with Sun Devil soccer alum now, Cam Valladares, who said with her heart, World Cup wise, she definitely wanted to say the U.S. So, hey, you win their second game, you're guaranteeing yourself. You win your first two, they're advancing to a knockout. So, they advanced to the knockout stages. So yes, they are up 2-0 as we speak, and over Australia. So that is a beautiful thing. Scotland and Morocco will play later, as will Brazil and Haiti. And then Paraguay and Turkey will also play tonight. So, yes, full day as group stage still going. So, on that note, though, I'm going to get out of here. Going to check out the second half of that U.S. game. Everybody have a phenomenal weekend. As you guys know, enjoy whatever you're going to enjoy. World Cup, I'm guessing. And, go from there. But, yes, have a phenomenal rest of your weekend. And thanks to reigning back-to-back Big 12 champs women's volleyball, who I had mentioned as part of those 18 championships. It is hashtag our state. And, yes, school down south. That is for you to always remember. I know you need to know that. It is hashtag our state. Much domination there. So have a phenomenal, like I said, rest of your day. It is hashtag our state. And you guys know it. Go Devils. Thanks again, Coach Brian Ward, the awesome
defensive coordinator for the Sun Devils. And forks up to him again, taking the time, bringing it to you guys here in Pitchfork Lunch Nation. So forks up to Coach Ward. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy it. Be safe. I'll see you Monday, season 3 finale, and you'll have to just see who the guest will be. But nonetheless, have a phenomenal rest of your Friday. You guys know it. Go Devils. And as always, forks up.
I went to Arizona State. Right. I'm a Sun Devil, man.
The 27-yard line. That's a great call. Play fake. Plummer will put it up. Throws over the middle. Poole, touchdown. Quick flag.
3rd down and 5. 11 swings it to Scatterboom. Scatterboom breaks defenders. Here he goes again. Another Scatterboom is the running back, and he is immediately met in the backfield, runs through the contact, and then throws a shoulder for good measure. Chuck this defense here. That is true. High in the air. Right center field. Brandon Compton. Welcome to 2025.
Today. Just run the other way. It's still going back. That's the drag. Walks up and down.
Edwards pulls off and buries it.
Richardson drives out for Robbie Ryan. Hurt 3 right on the money.
Takes his shot for Darby. Flag out. Doesn't matter.